What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the Woo Crew. It's your boy Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, man. Yo, I love our breaks. I love the pre-show stuff. It's awesome every time, man. One day we're going to find a way to sell this to the people so that they can also enjoy it as well. But
$39.99.
Boy, Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. You're a credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, vet of the network. All sports, know everything. Red Rings correspondent, and I know we're going to hear from you today about them.
Unfortunately, yes.
We woke up to 2 L's, and not the ones from Dispo.
But you know what? It is still a Victory Tuesday. You know why? Michigan basketball with a big win over Miami of Ohio. Dusty May's got those boys humming. I'll tell you what, Trey Donaldson, Danny Wolf look like some damn good transfers, and Namari Burnett, those who stay will be champions, looks like a completely different basketball player. Obviously, it's Miami, Ohio, but it does look different. Does it make up for the Red Wings and the Pistons losses? No, but you claim the victories when you can. And it's not even claiming because it actually happened. I was there.
Hey, you claim them. Hey, so we're a basketball school now, huh?
That's what it's looking like.
I mean, Dusty May, man.
Program builder.
Yeah, program builder.
That's still the question mark with Sharon Moore. We will see. We will see. But you know what? Let's introduce the rest of the cast and the crew before we get into this full show today. Shout out to our brother Matt Broder and that dude Justin. We got Cavassier. It looked like we might got Cavassier Chase in the building today.
I mean, that's up for you guys to decide, but how we doing this morning?
Joe freaking Mixon Chase.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns last night. 3 losses for you today.
Jeez.
Speaking of that game,
it's a win for me.
The Cowboys are now 0-5 at home. And they're not just losing, they're getting like nutted on every game. Every game!
Damn.
And you just hate to see it.
Just come shot. Just damn. That's crazy. Facial.
Look like Brokeback Mountain.
Am I wrong?
No.
34-10 to the Texans. And I get it, the Texans, they got Nico Collins back, but that's still no Will Anderson. And the Cowboys lost by 24 at home.
They were a facial before the year started.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Just saying, man.
I'm telling you guys, man, the energy, it was out there. I remember leading up to that game, it was just like, no, the Lions are going to wash them. And then they actually did a lot more than that. But that's what the Lions are going to do, I believe, to a lot of teams in the second half of this season. But shout out to KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick in the sound booth, a.k.a. Black Hollywood. What up, though, man?
What up, though, man? These Pistons, man. We going to get into it, man. Yeah. But I really wanted them to get that win last night, but it's all good, man. But they just gotta play a little better, man.
You did, Kool-Aid. I was a cocky bastard yesterday, and it blew up in my face. Yeah. You were the one who was more usually, I'm the one who's most mindful of opponents, but yesterday you were like, watch out for the Bulls, and I was like,
he was scared of Kobe White.
Look, it's different. It's different with basketball. Yeah. But that's the one that I'm like probably the most zeroed in on. And so it's like, you know, in following the trends of the squad, I know we're going to talk about it. That one just smelled like a loss. And there were a couple things that we do got to bring up as well. I believe that they were gassed, but we're going to get into that. JB Smooth, that's Woodward Sports MVP. Dang, it's a Tuesday.
Long titty.
It's a Tuesday, but it's a sad Tuesday, man. I had so much money riding on the Pistons.
Aw, damn. Come on, JB.
So you actually might need to go to the titty booth.
I actually might need to go to the titty bar right now. Come on. I had the -3.5 and the money line. I'm like, come on, they got to pull this out, but nope.
Man, it looked like, I guess we can just kind of get into it, man. It looked like one of those traditional trap games. They had played, I believe, so many games in like 6 days. They were gassed. They had, I think, they're still 7-5 since starting the season 0-4. So they've been on a pretty good tear. Last night was one of those kind of maintenance losses, in my opinion. They just look gassed. Every single time they tried to mount a run, the Bulls just had another big three. And there are some other glaring things we're going to get into. Some glaring things, but what up, though, Chase?
Didn't we have to come back from DC on a back-to-back? I know the Bulls played a back-to-back as well, but they were in Chicago the night before. And I mean, the travel-wise, like, much closer for them to go from Chicago to Detroit, for the Pistons to go from DC to Detroit. So.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, the Pistons have been playing, the brand of basketball they're playing right now is all-out hustle. That's why I wanted to at least make sure we called that out. But there's still some culprits that we got to get to. Just to put things in perspective, the Detroit Pistons last night, long the season, it is a 7-9 record for the Pistons. And honestly, just one win puts them at 5th in the East. That's kind of, I don't know if it's more of an indictment on the East or what the Pistons are doing right, or maybe a combination of the two. But something they got to figure out is this. One trend that we've all called out. The vets, they got to get more consistent. And even though we're getting good production maybe from one of them here and there, we got to get it from across the board. Yep. But one area of concern that is really starting to become alarming and probably quite major, and this is something we called out going back to last season, the paint defense, mainly the big fella. And I know he put up some big stats last night. Jalen Duren, all right? Jalen Duren put up 15 points and 22 rebounds, man. 22 rebounds. But a lot of people last night were saying that it felt like empty stats due to what we've seen happen several times this year. Their inability to be able to defend a big man who can stretch the floor. And Nikola Vucevic absolutely put it on the Pistons last night. 29 points, 12 rebounds, 6 of 8 from behind the arc, Flannel Sam.
Yes, and this was a humbling loss. For me as a fan, I will say that. And I'm not going to speak for all of us because Kool-Aid, as you were a lot more level-headed than certainly I was. But one way in which I'm kicking myself as a fan, as an analyst, is I should have seen Nikola Vucevic murdering Jalen Duren and then hiding the body. That's basically what happened. And unfortunately, Jalen Duren, he can't guard stretch bigs. He can't guard stretch bigs. And once again, he can't guard stretch bigs. And Nikola Vucevic, how many open threes did he get? Like, none of those threes, those 6 out of 8 threes that I saw, or maybe just a few of them, were contested. He could just, be in rhythm, do his taxes, take a dribble, if it's a free throw.
And even more so, just to kind of pinpoint that, because I don't want to just make it about Jalen Duren. Sure. The Pistons gave up 46 3-point attempts for the Bulls. Yeah. They made 50% of them. Yeah. This is a problem just in general for their defense. And that's where I do want to make sure that I give Jalen Duren a little bit of leeway here, because I need to figure out I'm still trying to figure out where the pressure is coming from. If you're not shutting down anybody from shooting the three, he's not going to stand a chance in the middle of the paint at all. He needs to improve and he needs to get better. Because there were too many plays, especially down the stretch, where it looked like he was just looking at the play. Kind of things that we were saying about Jaden Ivey last year, that's kind of some of the defensive feel that I get out of Jalen Duren this year. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because it's last night's loss. I don't want to say that it was last year or anything like that, but some of the trends that you saw from last year kind of reared their ugly head last night. Jalen Duren's defense on stretch bigs, the fact that, I don't know if there's much the Pistons could have done about Zach LaVine in the fourth quarter. He could not miss. I'm gonna keep telling y'all. Yeah. That's my thing. Like, people look at some of the measurables throughout the game and some of the stats throughout the game and some of the efficiency throughout the game. What you need Zach LaVine for is exactly what we saw in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm saying. Like, that, he's something a little bit different. Guys like him, DeMar DeRozan, those to me are good complement players. It's what we believed Tobias Harris could provide. But Tobias Harris has never been one of those scorers that goes on a heater. Zach LaVine is one of those guys who, if he sees the ball go through the net, he can literally put up 15 or 20 points on you in that quarter in a blink of an eye. And you saw him just hit three. And it wasn't like it was like catch and shoot threes. These were threes with the defenders pressed up on, putting a hand in the face. They were in position some of these times with Zach LaVine in the fourth quarter. But he was just hitting everything, it seemed like, man. Good offense beats good defense, and that's what Zach LaVine was doing in the fourth quarter for the most part. 7 of 14 for Zach LaVine from behind the arc. And I believe, 5 in the fourth quarter or something like that? Just he could not miss. It was unbelievable. It took the hearts out of everybody watching. It probably took the air out of the building, I can imagine. It took the air out of the Pistons. But also, another thing that I did not like last night, because like this show, we are the Cade Stan show. Cade got no help last night on the offensive side of the ball. None whatsoever. Tobias Hardaway and Ivey were 2 of 16 combined from 3, and Ivey and Hardaway were 4 of 22 combined from the floor. You cannot win that way. You're not going to win that way, especially when on the other side,
Kobe White, Zach LaVine, and Nikola Vucevic. They all go
I
off.
told y'all about Kobe White, man. That
did.
guy loves playing the freaking Detroit Pistons. Oh my God.
I ain't scared of no
So
Kobe
scared
White,
of
man.
Kobe White.
Freaking Kobe White.
I ain't scared
know
of no
because,
Kobe
look,
White.
I expected Nikola Vucevic to do that. I did. I was like, you know what? Brooke Lopez,
This-
and there's a couple other games.
This Vucevic, you expected to do that?
Against this Pistons team, yes.
I should have.
I should
have.
It's why I said yesterday,
Yeah.
like, guys, this is the classic recipe for a Pistons loss. And Kobe White is the equalizer. It's Kobe White's 25 points that surprises me. Well, it's what I wanted them to stop. It doesn't surprise me. I knew they were going to have an easier time at stopping him than stopping Vucevic.
Yeah.
And they didn't stop either one of them. Kobe White, man, 5 of 10 from behind the arc, 9 of 14 from the field, which means he didn't miss any shots that he took from inside the arc.
That's rare. That's rare for even Kobe White. Even though Kobe White's a good player, KG, you're starting to sound like JB
I
with
see
Brooke
him over
Lopez there.
No.
Give the man some credit.
No.
He played well.
No, and this is not like Orlando Magic Vucevic. This is not even first-year Bull Nikolai Vucevic. I think that's more of an
Welcome back to another episode of Powered by Charles. Home energy wasters? Cha! You don't need to be.
this problem since the year started with him not covering stretch bigs, man, and it's killing this team. You cannot just like Brooke Lopez the other night, you cannot just let these guys go off, or otherwise he will have a vintage performance like he did last night. But I'm looking at some of our vets, man, and I understand Tim Hardaway just coming back from injury, but 2 points in 30 minutes, that's just not going to cut it. I'm sorry, man. And then Tobias, 1 of 4 from 3, and I keep bringing this up. This is the sole reason why he was brought here. And maybe if he wasn't the number 3, it wouldn't be as much pressure on him. But since he's the number 3, and you are the highest paid veteran on this team, the three-pointers got to fall. I'm sorry.
Look, and that's the thing. It's like when Tobias was signed here, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll report on it, and then we'll give the spiel of how this thing can work.
Yeah.
But this is why during the offseason, you know, whether people liked it or not, Rod and I were on the bandwagon of a DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine type. Why? Because exactly what we saw last night. You need that type of a player on the squad. That's why I think all of us kumbaya'd on Brandon Ingram. Because we understood the type of player he could be, injury history or not, that we knew. Next to Cade Cunningham, he's a guy that can go out there and definitely give you 30.
Yeah.
When we signed Tobias Harris, when we knew the rumors were out there, there was no part of me that thought, oh yeah, but Tobias is one of those guys that can go out there and pop off at 35. I thought, yeah, he can get you 20, 25, but his averages are what? Generally 17 to 20 points per game. And I didn't anticipate the shooting numbers to be the things that were going to hold him down this year. I've largely liked the way he's played inside the arc. Very, very gritty. He's creating contact. He's getting to the free throw line. But where we need him as it relates to behind the arc and during the lulls. So if Cade Cunningham is not on, if the offense is going through a lull, those are the times that I'm expecting Tobias Harris, who's a 3-level scorer, and can handle the rock and can put his back to the basket to do something. There were too many times last night he had a smaller player on him or Giddy on him, and he didn't go and just barbecue chicken. I didn't understand that type of play. And I was talking about with a couple other guys in media, like, you know, it's not that he doesn't have this tenacity, it's just that it's not consistent. Sometimes Tobias looks like he wants to put somebody through the backboard, and then other times it just looks like he's just kind of like rec league Sunday, you know, I know I can sauce y'all, but I'm just going to kind of jog up and down the court. You know, and I'm not saying he's taking plays off, but I just don't see the same tenacity as consistently.
That's true, and I'm going to need Tobias to step it up a little bit because obviously it would be good for the team. I think the Malik Beasley signing has been a success, and I think other than last night, the Tim Hardaway Jr. signing has been a success. But Tobias Harris, man, he got a lot of slander from this network and from our chat when it was thought about him being the guy, like the prize signing of the offseason. And I was one of the people that defended Tobias Harris, that was curious as to why he was so radioactive. However, the way he started the season, the slanderers looked like it was more warranted, and I'm the one with egg on my face as of right now. So Tobias Harris, if you're not going to do it for the Pistons, for me. How about for me?
I'm so glad you said. I was wondering why he's so radioactive, because if you just look at the box score, it's a classic Tobias Harris game. Maybe a couple more rebounds would have been there, but that's probably the hook, ladder, sinker is. That's exactly what they did. He shot nearly 50% from the field. If he makes 4 more threes, shoot 50% from beyond the arc.
Right.
But we saw the impact on the game. When it was winning time, that's when we need Tobias. That's what I believe.
And this ain't the first time
this season. They would have brought
season.
in during the offseason.
Yeah, this ain't the first time this year either. So that's why we keep harping on it. Like, I'm sorry, we just need. It's not that Tobias is a bad player, but at the time of free agency, we just wanted a little bit more, and that's it.
And you know what? Since they didn't go and break the bank on Tobias, I'm like, okay, all right, and I want to make sure I temper these things, because if they go out there and do spend a little bit of money to bring in somebody who can be that guy, then all of a sudden this looks very, very attractive and very, very good. So it's just like, I want to give Trajan Langdon and JB Bickerstaff their opportunity and time to build this thing out the way that they see fit. But as it relates to, like, we're gonna talk about these games and the trends, and those are gonna have a little bit different emotion to them than, taking that kind of step back and saying, all right, they got Tobias here for a couple years. We know that he likes it here.
Yeah.
We know that there's a great opportunity. He might stay here after that for a reduced contract. I like him as a player.
He
but
just
right
can't be your 3.
He might be playing a role that's a little bit above where he's at right now in his career.
If there's one piece of good news, which there's a lot of good news when it comes to the way that the Pistons have started this season, we're talking about Tobias Harris as a disappointment the first 16 games in. Not terrible, but not the guy that we paid all that money to, or the Pistons paid all that money to. They're still 7-9. It's nice that they're 7-9 through 16 games, but at the same time, I think last night was a reality check that the Pistons are still bad. They're a much better version of bad, but being 500, 16 games in, that would have been so nice. But as you said, Kool-Aid, that was one of those that you foresaw as a loss, and it happened. And they still have some things that they need to clean up.
Yeah, they do. They have some things to clean up. I see, where is he at? Is it Weezy D? Oh, and WTF is up with Fontecchio. He looks slow, awkward.
Man.
What's going on,
You already know I'm on Fontecchio watch. I done brought him up a couple times.
The monster
Came with Cade. Their worst minutes came without Cade.
That's a fact.
And that's, I'm going to keep telling people.
Weird. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's right. I mean, that's summary. That right there. But I've been telling people, like, Sasser is a combo guard. He is not a point guard, and he can shoot the lights out the ball. Why wouldn't you pair him more with a guy like Cade, who is a gravity whore?
Right.
Like,
that's real.
It's
what?
A gravity whore. All roads lead to Cade Cunningham when he drives into the lane. That's what it is. The gravity absorbs to him. Everybody else on the outside is getting open looks. And that's why I want to see, if you're going to play Sasser, who I believe needs to be out there, play a little bit Sasser and Fontecchio more with
True,
Cade.
but at least I can appreciate Sasser's aggressiveness. Like, Fontecchio is just not giving me anything right now. He seems like he's not confident. He's shying away from the ball. When he does shoot the ball, it's not going in. He had a better night last night, but overall this year, he just doesn't seem to have that same aggressiveness that he gave us in that stretch last year, and it's disappointing because they need somebody like that off the bench that can score and somewhat defend like he can.
And what happened from last year?
I don't know.
I just don't understand it, because last year I thought this dude was balling out a little bit for us, but now it's like, I don't know. You're scared to shoot. You're scared to defend. I don't know what's going on with this man.
I have some theories, man. I have some theories, and we'll definitely talk about it on Woodward Pistons tomorrow. But this is cool because we're able to talk about the Detroit Pistons with this type of or level of criticism, not because we believe that they're a bad team, but because right now they're in playoff positioning, and those teams get criticized a little bit different. The scrutiny is a little bit different because now we're talking about a squad that through more than 20% of the season is still in playoff positioning.
Let's say we're talking about a team where it's like, dab nabbit, why couldn't they have been 8-8 instead of 7-9? That's a good problem to have considering what happened last year, and I think that's a good way to put a bow on it because we got to talk about some more bad news when we come back.
Lions on the docket.
It's the type of bad news that I think the Lions will be okay. You just kind of feel bad for the guy personally, and of course, you're going to miss what he brings. I think you guys know who we're talking about, but when this person gets healthy and maybe needs a little bit of extra workouts that he's not getting at Allen Park, which I'm sure isn't very often, you got to go to Planet Fitness, of course, because Planet Fitness, they've got 50-plus Metro Detroit.